Hey everybody, it's Pam with Silver and Sparkles, and I have another one-page wonder. So this one is made with 12 by 12 paper, and it's a little album or journal. So let me show you this one first. It is made with Cartabella paper, Secret Garden, and I used the 12 by 12 paper, but then I used some of the 6 by 6 to decorate it with. But you know, you can decorate them any way you want. And I just loved all the sayings about secret gardens. I have a lot of friends and people in my life that love to garden or have flower gardens or different things. So this paper really stood out to me. It also had a lot of like a reading theme running through it, which I love. Like, wouldn't it be great to sit in a secret garden and read? So it is so easy. And I have made journals and things using this simple binding method before, but I just thought we would make one out of a 12 by 12 piece of paper, and I can show you how fun and easy they are to then embellish and decorate. And the papers were so pretty. I really didn't even do that much to this one. I added pockets, tuck spots, belly bands, that type of thing, and then just tied it together with a piece of sari silk ribbon. And this one I haven't even embellished inside yet. I just used a piece of paper that I had that kind of coordinated with these as well, because I have dozens of this palm tree paper. And I was thinking, well, this would be cute, like summer keepsake. You could even just put it together like I did here. And I said, these are such beautiful moments. And then what I'm thinking is, for my trips that I'm going to be taking with my husband here coming up, I could just put photos in here. And if I want to then write, I can. So I left this one just with the pages. And again, if you use whatever kind of scrapbook paper you choose or whatever paper you use, they're going to look completely different, and you can make them look really vintagey, junky, you know, whatever. So I'm going to show you how to put it together. And then I thought I have some of the pieces. Again, this is a piece of paper that I got into. I have both of these are, I think, the Bow Bunny brand. And I got a whole pack, but it's the same pattern. So I don't know, like 24 sheets that look like this and 24 sheets that look like that. So I have a lot of those, but let me just show you again. This is so easy. I might decorate this one with some pieces from the Secret Garden kit, or I may get fancy and we'll use some book. Maybe we'll do that. We'll use some book page and just some scraps and things I have on my desk, because that'll be fun too. All right. So you just take a 12 by 12 piece of paper and you're going to cut it into 3 4 by 12 inch strips. So lay it on your trimmer, cut it at 8 inches, right? And then cut it at 4 inches, and you will have 3 4 by 8 strips. All right. Now I am going to look at mine. Let me score them. I want to decide which one I want to be, quote, the cover. And they're basically the same, so I don't think it matters. All right. 2 of them that are not the cover, you're going to just score at 6 inches, or you could just fold it in half. I'm scoring it because I have my scoreboard out anyway. So 6 and 6, okay? Now for the cover, we're going to score it at 5.5, 6, and 6.5. All right, and that's all you're scoring. And then you want to take your papers. I have ink everywhere on my hands today. This is going to be my cover. And I'm going to take these papers and just fold on all the score lines. And I do want to make sure, as much as possible, that everything is lined up nice and even. So that was the 6 inch score. Now I'm going to fold on the other 2, all right? And just get everybody nice and happy. I'm even gonna fold it back the other way, and I think I am gonna use the white and green side for the front, but this other green side's really pretty too, so I don't think I could go wrong whichever way I decided to do it. Okay, So that'll be my cover. Now these we're just going to, again, carefully fold in half. Like this. These are going to be our pages. One thing I thought would be fun, I didn't do it, but you could make 3 of these really fast. Cut 3 pieces of 12 by 12 paper, and then you don't need to use the same pages for each one. You could have 3, a cover, and then 2 different pages inside, right? And have 3 journals at the end. But I didn't think about that, so we're going to do it this way. I'm going to put this one in next, and then this one. Okay, now, there is something that I do before I start binding everything together. And I just, you basically are just, even though these have this extra fold, which is going to end up being kind of where you bind everything together, just stack them all together like you're just making a signature. Just get them in there. Now you're going to see they stick out a little bit. What I do is I take page 2. So this is page 2. And I take just a tiny sliver off. I stick it in there. And then I take page 3, which is the very inside, and I take just a little bit larger sliver off. Now these were slivers. They literally were just little slivers. But what happens is when we put our pages together, now they don't jut out the end here. See how just where the paper folds, it ends up taking up some of that space. So that's why I did that. Method to my madness. Okay, hold them together nice and secure. I'm going to use my ruler, and I'm going to make some marks of where I'm going to punch my holes. So it is a 4-inch tall album. I'm going to put a mark at 3/4 of an inch and try to make it a 1/4 inch up. This is a 1/2 inch, so right in the middle. So 3/4 of an inch, 2 inches, so it'll be in the middle. I know this is hard to see because of that green. And then at 3 1/4 inch. All right, so poke 3 holes. And they're evenly spaced out, or you have one in the center and then one 3/4 of an inch from the top and 3/4 of an inch from the bottom. And I'm going to use my Crop-A-Dile because it will go through all the layers at one time. And I'm using the smaller hole. If you don't have a Crop-A-Dile, and your hole puncher won't go through all the layers, mark your cover and punch it. And then, put your page in, punch that one, and then your last page. You can do it. The Crop-A-Dile does make it easy because it goes through so many layers. All right. So now we have to decide what we're going to tie it with. I used a piece of grosgrain ribbon for this one, some sari silk. I was thinking I have out a piece of the sari silk, but I also have some of my crinkled seam binding, and I think I'm going to go with this. Even though it's brown, there's that little bit of neutral, and like I said, I think I'm going to just try to use some scraps and book page on this one, so I think it'll be kind of fun. All right, so to bind it together, I don't know how long of a piece we need. Let's go with, I don't know. I don't want it to be too short. I'm going to cut this at about 22 inches. Well, if you stretch it out, it's a little bit longer, but that'll be plenty for me to tie my pretty bow and not have to worry. Okay, so put one end through that top hole coming out the back. Put the other end, the front of the bottom hole coming out the back. And then try to make your ends even so it looks like that. And then flip it over, and you're going to take each end up through this center hole. And you just kind of have to make it go. Wonder where I put my big eye needle I was using earlier. I guess I didn't put it back in the pin cushion. This one is not a very big eye, but it may be just enough to help me push my ribbon through. was just doing a video, struggling getting things through the holes. There we go. All right. I went through the wrong side. No, I didn't. And I pulled it out. Okay. We have them both hanging out the back. You want to come through the center back hole so it comes out to the front. I'm so sitting here worrying about where my needle ran off to that I'm not really paying attention. Okay, through the front hole. All right, now we have to make this end also go through this hole. So I just kind of hold it over. I don't know if you guys can see. And we're just gonna make it go through. And again, you could use twine, you could use embroidery floss, whatever you want. Okay. But again, the Grow Green ribbon, and that's kind of a wide one. It looks nice. Okay, so this is similar to like when we do a 3-hole pamphlet stitch, because I want to make sure I have one ribbon tail to the right of this piece and one to the left, kind of like when I'm tying my signatures in, and it looks like this on the back, okay? And then we are going to tie a nice snug knot. I'm just going to do 2. And then I'm going to tie a cute ribbon or a cute bow. Ha! And it was a little long, and I don't want the ends to be this long, but luckily these are still long enough to use for something else, so I will save them. Okay, cute. Now, we only did the additional scores on that cover, so each of these pages, I'm just going to fold over, because again, if you score these, it doesn't work right, because you got there's too much real estate of the paper, and so then I don't know how to explain it. I tried that, and it doesn't work right. So it's better on the additional pages to just fold them yourself. Just crease them over where they want to go, right? All right, that one was, of course, already done. And then I kind of go back the other way, too. Just crease them where they naturally want to go across the other pages. Okay. There we go. I think it's looking great. See how they just naturally kind of, it's almost like that little bit of a waterfall, but then when you open it up, everything lines up. All right, and now it's just having fun decorating. So, like I said, I had gotten some of these pieces out, and I'm not going to make it all matchy-matchy like I did the other one. I think I am going to use some scraps and some things, but there might be a little piece here, 1 or 2 that I want to use. So let me just pick a couple. To plant a garden is to believe in tomorrow. I love that. This is my story. Okay, I will save these for something else. I think I'm going to use this somewhere, but I'm going to cut it out more like around the frame just to make it a little different and not quite so, you know, like a card that came out of the scrapbook pack. All right. And again, I love making, and especially when I'm doing one-page wonders, you know, using scrapbook paper. And it makes me happy. I used to actually scrapbook my children's early years, especially. And I had a whole group, you know, that I scrapbooked with. But I got out of that for a while, you know, life and things going on. But I still love some scrapbook paper, and it's hard for me to resist it. But I also like using it kind of more in the style, you know, the vintagey junk journal, so that I've been enjoying making in recent years, which is much more what I do. But again, you can't you can't pass up a great piece of 12 by 12 paper to make some of these fun little folios and one-page wonders. And again, it's all about how you choose to decorate them. They're going to look very, very different depending on the choices, you know, that I make with the decorations. I may save this for an inside page because I really don't want to cover up all of that fun goodness. So I did not necessarily plan to use scraps. I'm going to have to go grab a pile of scraps, and I've got some book page. I moved my scrap bin, which probably wasn't the smartest move I've made in my craft room, because, you know, it's nice having it right at hand. Okay. I could just turn around and grab from it before, so I may move it back. I don't know. And like why this was in the scrap bin, I don't know. I was moving quickly, cleaning up one day, and, you know, that's what kind of happens. That's what happens. All right. So I want to do some type of little decoration for the, for the front. And the sheet music caught my eye. So we'll just kind of do that. I don't really want it where it says "but my lips." I don't know what they were saying, but there's I misunderstood. We'll see if I can come up with something with that. And some of these are very recent. I wouldn't even say these are scraps, but recent scraps. And some are older scraps. Let's see, some book page. This is a nice piece of book page, but we'll get a little piece. I hope you guys will leave me a comment and give the video a thumbs up, especially if you're enjoying, you know, my content, the things I'm creating on YouTube. I would love that. I would. Now, these birds kind of caught my eye too. Let me see what I have in the doodad folder. Now, I have a video on how to make these ephemera folders, and I've talked about them, you know, multiple times. So I will try to remember to put the link in the description. If I forget, just drop me a comment and remind me to put the link there for you. But I am going to just randomly grab a few things out of the doodad folder that I think might work, and then we will just start decorating. I'm not even worried if I think things coordinate or not at this point. Okay, maybe one more page, right? Flip it one more time, Pam. What's here? It's mushrooms. Mushrooms. Okay, and a little piece of ephemera. I think that's a Christmas. That's a Christmas one. Shh, let's get her. And a vintage bird that I punched out, and an airmail. This is going to be very different. Okay. And then I may need to use some of these to make pockets and things. Okay, I wanted some type of focal point for my collage. Oh, this is some washi tape on book page. Maybe I don't need the larger piece of book page. Maybe we'll do something like this, and a butterfly. Because that right there just makes me happy. All right, we're going to go simple. But it kind of starts to, I think, make the brown ribbon make sense. I was doing something with some washi tape. This is pretty. I'm glad it was there. All right. So just a very simple, basic little mini collage like that. All right, we'll glue it down and keep on going. Sometimes I will leave the cover for the end because I want to kind of get a sense of what I'm doing. I decided to just go for it. This is interesting. St. Louis, Missouri. I lived there right after I got married to my first husband when I was like 24, I guess. I was young. And we lived there. Both of our children were born there, both Sarah and Daniel. And then we moved to Florida, and we're there for quite a few years, and then moved to Virginia. And then after 18 years, we went our separate ways. So that happens, right? Oh, pretty. I love this. Okay, so now I'm going to do a variety of pockets and tuck spots or just decorations on pages, and we'll see how far I get. Just thinking, even though this has the blues, it might be fun to use it as a pocket of some sort. I'm going to cut it out though. So anyway, that was a little walk down some memory lane for me when I saw St. Louis. I was there a year or so ago. Yeah, about a year ago. This is my son was still living out in Illinois near his dad. He's now moved back to Virginia. But we met, he and his girlfriend. They didn't live too far. Well, it's going to be too tall if I install it that way. But I could do it this way and stick something out the end. I think I'm going to skip forward. I don't think I want it on the cover page, but I kind of like that idea for right here. So I'm going to put it down. Anyway, we went to St. Louis Cardinals game. I think I told you about that last year. And I got to see my good friend Beth while we were there. And I hope y'all will say a prayer for Beth. Her father passed away a few days ago. And yeah, she's been on my mind. And she's always in my heart, right? Okay. I want to make some kind of little tag to go in here. This would be cute to go in there. We'll trim it down just a little bit. And again, I'm just going to make this a real eclectic one. Again, I think depending on our choices of papers and decorations, you can have something like these would be great, like with a birthday gift or as a birthday gift, I think. Of course, this would be too, but just, very different styles and a lot of fun. Okay, let me pick. Maybe I'll use a little piece of this that I didn't use for the binding. I'm going to cut it in half to make it not quite so wide. Been doing that a lot with this. But it's like getting twice as much when you do it that way, right? Let's find the slot punch. I was thinking, at different times I've played those little games or, where people go, what's the one craft supply you couldn't live without, or those types of things. And and then sometimes I'll be like, okay, well, let's not go for like scissors or glue, right? Paper, like just in general paper, because I obviously can't do anything without that. But like, what are some of your things? And, and I go back and forth from like distress ink to my ruler to a punch to ribbon to all these things. There's so many things that I know I could maybe find workarounds with some more common everyday items, but goodness, there are some things I just love having on hand, right? All right, I am going to use, well, maybe I'll pick a different piece, and because I want to make a pocket, and I had already cut that one just a smidge more narrow than I wanted to. This section is now 5.5 inches wide because it was a 6-inch strip. Well, it was folded in half, 12, which made 6, and then that 1/2 inch. So it's now 5.5 inches wide. I'm going to make this a little less than 5.5 inches, and I'm going to go for a pocket that is 1 3/4 inches tall, because this is only 4 inches, so that's gonna fit right there. Isn't that cute? Now I'm gonna put something over it or with it. And this book page, I'm perfectly happy using as the pocket. There's some of my vintage book page I would not do this with because it's so fragile, but this one is nice and sturdy. So I'm just gonna glue it down as a simple pocket. Right there. Has a little bit around each edge of the green that we can see. And then how do I want to decorate this pocket? She's making me happy. I'm not going to glue her down yet. I'm going to make sure, but take up some of that space. And here was that strip that I pulled out of the doodad folder that has some, yeah, let's do that. Sheet music. So now I kind of am bringing the sheet music in. You can still see some of the book page that actually made the pocket. Very cute. And just simple but fun decorations. I don't want to glue my pocket closed, so I'm going to be careful about where I apply the glue on her. And I'm going to put her a little crooked. There we go. And then we'll find some things to put in the pockets in a little bit. Okay, what do I want to do? Like this will be something great. In fact, we'll just put that in there because it looks great there. All right, I'm thinking about using this to make, let's make a belly band with it. Okay, again, I know my journal is 4 inches tall. I'm gonna cut the distressed part off because I won't have it at the top and the bottom. And then I'm gonna make this maybe a 2 1/4 inch wide belly band. I need to trim it off just a little bit. I want just a little too tall. Okay, and I'm gonna put it here. And we'll be able to just slide some things through it, and we'll do something on the front to give it a little more interest. Okay, I think I want the lace part to the left. So glue the top and the bottom. And I'm just eyeballing the center. So we'll have a nice little pass through. I have made a delightful mess. I think I just want this one mushroom. Ah, I picked up my ribbon scissors. Oops. I don't know what this is from, but I don't like having that much of the border. So here we go. Okay. And it's kind of really thin, so I'm not going to worry about inking it. I'm just going to glue it down. Sometimes you just need a mushroom, right? Okay. Cuteness. All right, what are we going to do here? We have a pocket here. That's great. Again, I don't want to cover up that. How about I put this here, but we'll leave it open on this side so I can tuck something inside. So I'm going to glue it on 3 sides, and I'm holding it on the side I want to leave open. And I'm just going to lay it here. It'll be a little different. And I'll think of something for this side. Okay, back over here. What do I have? How about... I'm going to set that there. I'm feeling it, but it hasn't quite come to me yet. So I'm going to set it down and come back to it. And I think it will work better for me. I think I like this. So I'm gonna cut this down to just a little under 4 inches so I can use it. And let's ink it up. You could do some flip outs, some really fun things here. And I'm gonna install it where something tucks in this way. It won't hang out the end, so you know we'll have to, the size might be a little limited, but I just kind of like the idea of having it oriented to this end of the page. Why don't I take just a moment? I think I'm going to do something with this orange. With this orange right here. I'm gonna do 4.5. Let's see. Thinking this is going to fit in here. Yes. Cuteness. Not quite sure. I'm gonna ink it or do something to it, but I don't know. Fun, different, right? Just something different. How about, I'm gonna use the Never Lose Your Sense of Wonder. And we're gonna put it on that pocket over there. This is me just going through some scraps. Okay, making me happy. I used to really avoid doing this type of crafting on camera where I haven't planned everything out and I know what I'm going to be doing. And I think the 15-minute challenge has really helped me feel like, okay, I don't need to do this every time, but certainly it'll be okay. You know, I can do this and we can have fun and I can show you guys kind of how I think through laying papers down. Yeah, and I'm enjoying it. So I hope you guys are too. Okie doke. Let's round these corners to make this look a little more finished. And it's printed on the other side as well, so that's kind of fun. Now this would have been a fun project too for me to just pull out my stash and start filling it up with things that I've already made too, but I'm having fun with this. All right, let's just, oh, I should have grabbed those little short pieces. I said these are big enough for me to do something with. I'm gonna just staple this one on. There we go. Yay, fun. All right, I need to come back over here and do something. This has a nice pocket. Oh, and I need something in here. I said I was gonna come back later, but let's see. This is a pretty piece of paper. All right. Not quite sure what it's from, but it is going to slide in here and look wonderful. You know what? I'm not going to glue it together because that way I could open it up and write on it if I wanted to. And it's going to look great in the pocket just like this. It has a little bit of green. Okay. So that has something. All right, back to here. Let's do a corner pocket. I don't think I've done that yet, have I? Yeah, let's do a corner pocket right here or right here. Let me see what papers I have in my hand. Let's do this. Well, I don't want to lose that. Let me save that. Maybe in a moment. Okay, these are like full sheets of something. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna cut a 3.5 by 3.5 inch square. And you might have been like, Pam, those colors. But this, I think this is gonna be fun. All right. Okay. Set that aside. We'll decide which one. So this has kind of that lacy on there, but this has some blue right there. Let's use this one. We'll save that for a different page. and then see what else we can put on here. And I didn't cover up all of that little faux torn paper there. I think I made a one-page wonder using this 12 by 12 paper and either my Meadow Blooms or my Cozy Days kit. I can't remember. It's beautiful. The palm trees are fun, and again, I think will be good for me with like my Florida vacation and things. But that just really, really, that paper, it just makes me very, very happy. I'm going to, this isn't a cluster yet, but I'm going to glue, I don't want to waste this little bit of sheet music that is very old. I'm going to just kind of stick it down and then put something else with it here in a moment. The messy kind of junk journaling. I love it. All right. I might even put that little bug right there. And then I use the words right there, but I can use them again. You can put a little word. Ooh, why don't we just go with smile? No, let's go with worth it. Why not, right? This is worth it. It is worth the mess I am making on my desk. Do you guys make a mess when you craft? Or are you like really neat and put everything away as you go? I don't know. I've always been kind of like this. Now, I do like to clean up my desk when I'm done. I like to come in the next morning and things are ready for me to play again. And I pretty much am able to make that happen. Occasionally it doesn't. I have to put a little flower. And I'm trying not to hoard all these gorgeous stickers from Pink Monarch Print. Somebody asked me about these, and you know, sometimes I hesitate pulling them out on videos because you can't always get their stickers or, you know, their physical products. They do drops like 4 times a year. If you sign up for their newsletter, you'll know when they're coming. They also do a good job on Instagram and YouTube letting you know when the drops are going to happen. And there's usually paper packs and charms and stickers and just lots of things besides just the digitals that they have, of course, all the time. But they sell out, which is great for them, right? But if you're wanting them at other times, I'm sure it's a little frustrating when you can't get them. Okay, let's do another corner. This one, let's do up in the corner like that. Get the corner. And I know I had grabbed a couple that I thought I might want to use, but you know, I may just put this one here. I think if I add some ink, this is my story. That green door goes so well with this paper. We'll just glue this down on this page. And of course, I could put some neutral pages for some more writing space, but I just kind of like that. And all the pieces that I'm trying to incorporate in all of these text spots can be journaling cards, can be writing space. I'm going to just turn this into a journaling card. You know, you can call anything a journaling card if you want to. Round the corners, do something to it, add some ink, stick it in a pocket, and there you go. And I'm going to leave it with the white on the back so that, again, we have some writing space. We've got the yellow and the yellow here. And I'm thinking, I don't know what this is going to look like, but this little bit, it almost looked like a shield of some sort. I want ribbon on here. Let's see, where did I throw those? I think I just tossed them in here. There they are. And I don't have to use the same color ribbon, but look at how perfect that is. So we will. And I'll decide if I'm going to do anything else to this pocket. We're almost getting there. It doesn't seem like there would be this many pages, right, in a one-page wonder album, but it really is substantial and fun. All right, I am going to take that out because I kind of like seeing that fun little bug there. I think instead of that piece, I'm going to put one of these birds on here. Oops. All right, that's where the bird's going to be because my hand slipped. Cute. All right, and then I just think I have these last 2 pages. I'm not going to give up. I'm just not. All right, I think if I use this side, even though this is pretty, I'm going to be happier with it. So, what do I want to do? We could do a double kind of pocket or something. Okay, let's get the paper trimmer. And I am going to cut this off straight. And this was something going on. I don't remember what I was trying to do. I want it like this. Yeah, let's do it like this. This is going to be fun. And I'm going to let it flip open. We'll put a little Velcro dot there so that it'll close, but it'll be fun. A little flippy something something. You decide what to call it here in a second. We'll put it here. We'll have a tuck spot. Or should we do, well, it'd be so skinny. I do want it to open though. If I do it here, we could have the tuck spot. No, I'm going to do it here. And I'm going to put something skinny in there. Not worry about it. Okay, a skinny tag. So I'm going to make it a top load pocket. So U-shaped glue with the top open. Bringing it pretty close to the edge to help this back cover have some more stability. And we'll do another bird, but I think I'm going to do something like that. I should have waited to peel the bird off, right? Yeah. Give it a little more color and go, you know, to our eclectic little style we're doing. Pretty, pretty, pretty. And a bird. Okay, and then I'm going to do a Velcro dot. In here. And I think, yeah, I saw these. Let's do this for some interest. I am going to, in fact, this is a good one because I've already started it. I'm going to just put, don't want to hit the Velcro, so I'm going to go kind of like that, just to give that some interest. And then in this pocket, it needs to be something skinny. Let's see if this is going to work. It sure is. Okay, so I just folded it over. There's a little bit of white here, and what we will do, never did use this piece of book page. We may use part of it here in just a moment. I am going to glue book page here. We will trim it off, and that way our little skinny tag is a little bit thicker. Glue this down. All right, let me trim this off like that. I don't know why I like that splash right there. And we're going to use this tiny piece that is left where I cut it too tall or too long, too tall. I cut the ribbon too tall, you guys. Where did I put my stapler? Under the pile of papers. Okay, very cute. I may do something else there later. All right. How about we make this, I said this one wasn't quite long enough, you know, to be a pocket, but I'm just going to make it another top load pocket. There we go. It's sturdy enough. It'll be okay. And it'll just be a little bit smaller. And similar to the other one, we'll decorate it up some. I may leave this side open. So if I just put glue here and at the bottom, that'll give us a little more option of what we tuck in. If we need the extra space. We may not, but we might. Let's see. It's a nice piece of ribbon. I think, even though I used part of this journaling card for something else, there you go. Cute. Didn't really need to worry about that, did I? What's this? Some more mushrooms? Let me cut out just a little bit. We'll have that little torn bottom there. And let me do that. Okay. Very just making my scraps work for me, right? All right. I would love to, somebody said this in a comment one time, but I would love to go to like a retreat or a scrapbook day or something where we all bring like a pile of scraps, and like we could weigh it and say however many pounds, or you know what will fit in a particular bag or something, I don't know, box, and then lay them down and trade, you know, pick up somebody else's, or even just put everything in a huge pile and let people work from whatever they would like. I just think that would be so much fun. I kind of want to use this, and I'm feeling like this needs some stability right here. So before I let you go, let's just use the finger tear. My little tear ruler's sitting right there, and here I go. That'll probably be enough to give it some stability, and then we'll decorate over it just a touch, because I put this kind of heavy pocket piece there, and it needs something to help balance it. Ooh, and I like that much better anyway. So there we have it, right? All right, and a little piece of this and a little piece of that, and we will be done. Put that there. And then, where'd those words run off to? We'll go for, look for the good. And I will put them on here. Do I want it like that, or do I want to stay? I did something like that. That would be different. Or I didn't get enough ink on the end there. All right, I'm going to make a decision to staple this on. I think I'm going to put it down like that. I don't know, it's kind of strange, but I think I'll end up liking it. A little bit of a glue dot to help the ribbon stick to the paper. Just get it on there at a funny angle and it'll be fine. I'm gonna shove one more little glue dot under there, kind of all balled up. There we go. I would have probably done just a little dab of hot glue, but I didn't have my hot glue gun turned on. So I have those there, you know, for emergencies. Let me show you what we made and then I will let you go. So these were my prototypes, very clean and neat. Oh, I didn't put this tab down and I really, really wanted to. How about right there? And then I made this lovely eclectic scrappy one where I just stuck stuff everywhere. It might be my favorite. Pocket, belly band, pocket, pocket with a little collage, another pocket, pocket. I did lots of pockets. That one I just decorated. Pocket. There we go. Oh, how fun. I love it. Tell me which one is your favorite. Do you like the one made completely, you know, with a scrapbook kit where everything matches and is so pretty and clean? Or do you like the one that's a little more in a junk journal style? Or you like me and you like both? This is probably my favorite though. Okay, have a great time, everybody. Thank you so much for watching and spending time with me today. I appreciate you guys.